What's up everybody, Corey with Freaky Tech Reviews here. There are a lot of rumors circulating about the Nintendo Switch 2 coming out in 2024. It's been 7 years since the launch of the Switch back in 2017, and if we look at Nintendo's console timeline, then we are definitely due for a new system. And with the handheld console war that's happening right now that I just did a video on, this is like throwing a giant can of gasoline on the fire. So let's talk through the rumors and recent events to see if there is a possibility of the Switch 2 coming out in 2024, and if it can keep its title as the king of handhelds. Many sources say that Nintendo held a private demo for the Switch 2 for developers at Gamescon a few days ago in September of 2023. On it, they showcased a souped-up version of Zelda Breath of the Wild to showcase its abilities, and the demo gave an early look at how games will run on the unannounced system. Some reports even showed the Matrix Awakes Unreal Engine 5 tech demo from Epic Games running on the same hardware the Switch 2 will use, and it will also reportedly use Nvidia's DLSS upscaling technology with ray tracing enabled. This means there is possibly, or even likely, a substantial chip upgrade coming that would allow games to look and run much better on the Switch 2. This is a big deal because it took what felt like forever for Nintendo to release a better visual quality version of the Switch with an OLED model coming out over 4 years later, and while Nintendo did increase storage capacity on the OLED Switch and improved a couple other aspects of it, it was mainly for screen clarity as it was still a 720p screen with the same Nvidia Tegra X1 chip, just on a slightly larger 7-inch OLED screen. But one of the things you hear circulated all the time is, will the next generations of Switch consoles have 4K? Personally, I do think the Switch 2 will have a higher resolution screen, but I think it'll only be 1080p, and I think most likely you'll get 4K through the docking station. Although Bloomberg did release an article in September of 2021 saying that developers are making games for a Nintendo console called the Switch Pro that had 4K resolution, but that rumor stopped due to the chip shortages that happened post-pandemic. But even in 2017 when the Switch came out, its graphics were already limited even when it was brand new. So I'm personally not getting my hopes up that the Switch 2 will blow us out of the water. In my recent video, I also came across an article talking about how the Switch 2 will have the same performance potential as the PS5. I don't see how they could possibly do that in this form factor and keep it affordable, and that was also in reference to the Final Fantasy VII remake. I don't know how much stock there actually is in that statement, so I would take that as well as a lot of the other Switch 2 rumors with a grain of salt until we actually hear official announcements from Nintendo. Now, one thought that I have is, how will the Switch 2 be unique in that Nintendo fashion that we've become so accustomed to? Nintendo continuously brings cutting-edge ideas to the table and gets away with less powerful consoles with how creative their console designs are. I remember firsthand when the Nintendo Wii came out, and I got one of the first consoles released in my hometown and was absolutely blown away by the technology, so that's the standard that I hold Nintendo to. How are they going to be unique and creative? So it makes me wonder, is the Switch 2 going to be a very beefed up version of the Switch, or will it have this new and unique appeal to it that you've never seen in the gaming world? What has me questioning this is with Lenovo's recently announced Legion Go having True Strike controllers that detach like Joy-Cons do, and the One X Player 2 Pro that also has detachable controllers, which I somehow forgot to include in my handheld console gaming war video. Will Nintendo adapt to the competition or blow our minds with something else that we've not seen yet? And I'm not sure yet, but time will tell, and I'm super excited to see what they come out with. Also, really quick before my last point, I did want to thank everyone for fact checking me on my Legion Go video. I was wrong on a couple of things, and while I never want to release false information on anything that I cover, I do want to thank you as the viewer for correcting me, because that's going to help me get better at these videos and become more diligent in my research for future videos. So thank you. Now, the big question for the Switch 2 is, will it even really be affected by the handheld console gaming war? The fight right now is really between Windows and Linux-based handheld systems, not the Switch itself. The only reason I'm really including the Switch in this conversation is because of its form factor. It is still a handheld gaming console, but it's really kind of separate from the rest. Nintendo's extremely strong library of games, dedicated player base, simple and efficient UI, and multiplayer abilities really put it in its own category. While you will hear a lot of direct comparisons between the Switch and every other handheld gaming console, similar to when the Steam Deck came out, it was constantly being compared to the Switch. I still don't think Nintendo is going to have any problems with sales at all, simply because you have to buy the Switch to play Nintendo games. These other handheld consoles are competing against each other with the same library of games, and Nintendo is in a league of its own. So I have to say, it's not really involved in the competition like the other ones are, similar to how the PlayStation Portal is its own standalone thing. And I know that I included it in my last video, but the reason I did that is because it has a similar form factor, and that is it. I know that it's not its own standalone handheld device, but the reason I included it is because it's being wrapped up and included in all of the other handheld consoles happening right now in 2023. So I just think that it's cool that so many devices that have the same form factor and usability are being announced and released within the same time frame of like 12 months. But right now in September of 2023, we really don't have a lot to go on for the Nintendo Switch 2 and what it's going to look like. There's going to be more events and more demos later this year. We're going to get sneak peeks of what the system actually looks like, and I'm going to do my best to make sure I root out what the truth is and not just speculation. So be sure to subscribe and join the Freaky Tech family so you can see when those videos come out and stay up to date with Switch news. But I'd also love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. What are you excited about for the Switch 2 or any of these other handheld consoles? Let me know your thoughts. But either way, I really appreciate your time and hanging out with me today. Again, I'm Corey with Freaky Tech Reviews. I'll see you next time.